Hey everybody, it's Liz with Liz Art Finds. We're here today with another haul video. Today, obviously, I am not in my normal place. I am back in my childhood bedroom in Rhode Island. By the time you see this video, I will be back in my normal place. But I'm recording this morning in Rhode Island, and I've been up here for a week. I did some thrifting early in the week, which we're going to talk about today. And then later in the week, I went up to Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Vermont, and we will do that video next, hopefully, or soon. So anyway, let's talk about this week. So I did have some solds. I had 4 things that sold. I have my shops on like vacation mode, but that like with delayed shipping. So I did sell some things. So let's just go through real quick. I cannot tell you my profit because I haven't shipped yet, and so I don't know the exact totals, but I do know what I paid for them and what they sold for. So first thing, Minnesota mug, Starbucks, that went quickly. I just listed it. I found that for $5.99 and it sold for $18.99. The other one that went quickly, this propagation station, it's for like a whole bunch of different plants for rooting them, but you could also use it as a centerpiece vase. Now there's supposed to be a glass circle in the center. Like it's supposed to be a 3-piece thing. This does not have it. They do nest fine without it, but I did disclose that piece was missing, and it still sold for $42. So I spent $9.98, so $10 on the 2 pieces basically, and sold it for $42. And I listed this on September 3rd, and it sold in less than a week, or in a week. Somehow before, like, yeah, within a week, it sold really fast. So that was really cool. Okay, the other ones that sold over on eBay, you saw me recently pick up these 3 bowling balls. And what I love about this, now I took a bit of a discount. I gave them a bit of a discount. The guy that bought them, he refurbishes bowling balls. So he buys them in really bad condition like this, cleans them up, shines them up, and then resells them for a huge profit. So he has a great little business going on. I love that these are getting a new life. I had paid $7.17 for the 3 together. They sold for $25, so I still made some money, and now he's going to be able to take them, recycle them, refurbish them, and they will get a new life. So I think that's fantastic. And then the last thing that sold is the Westmoreland fairy lamp base. I've had this for quite some time. This sold over on Niknax. I paid $1.40 for it, and it sold for $16. So yeah, it was a pretty exciting week. I mean, total sales, let's see, we're at 25, and so 40, 82, 20, so like right over $100, $110 or so in sales for the week. And the fact that I'm out of town and that was still going on in the background is pretty cool. So let's go into what I found this week. It was kind of, the beginning of the week, I'll admit, was kind of slow. I picked up some things I might not ordinarily pick up to have some things. And then there is a story I will tell you about some things I ended up leaving and why. So let's get through the things I found. So the very first stop, I went up to the antique mall, and this was like right when I got into town last weekend. I was looking specifically for signed things for the signature sale coming up on Niknax, and I think my spot is on the 21st. The specifics will be in the description below. And then, oh, I added 3 more shows, but they're all in October so far. And once I get back, I will hopefully add another 1 or 2. We'll see how that goes, but I will be adding shows through the fall for sure. So I found this swirl paperweight, and it is signed. I do not know yet by whom. So I have very little I can share on this, but it's a very long signature that kind of goes around, and you may or may not be able to see it. It starts over here and goes all the way around, and then there's some sort of either a date or a numbering. Looks like it says 10 of 83, so it probably is a date. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Looks kind of like a little Hershey's Kiss. It's got the interesting, you know, oh my gosh, texture. That's the word, texture on the outside, and then the really cool colors on the inside. So that's cool, right? I mean, I paid $24. I paid up. It was an antique mall. I think I can probably get $35 on this, maybe, but it depends. and we shall see. I will probably start it at auction at 28 just to basically break even and see what happens. So we've got that one. Then I went over, there's a new Goodwill. I think I had posted a while back about a grand opening up in Smithfield, Rhode Island. And I popped in there because it's right near the antique mall. I only found two things. I paid $3.99 each on them. One of them is broken, and I knew that, but I got it anyway. So this is a Waterford crystal picture frame. It's new-ish. It does have the Waterford signature on the edge. You may not be able to see it. It's etched at the very top. You probably can't see it, but right there is etched Waterford, right? So these are worth some good money when they're not broken. This is the 4x6 photo size, and then obviously the frame is much bigger. Made in Ireland, and the solds are typically 38 to 42, and I paid $3.99. Now, however, you can see on the back here, it's missing something. So it's got a couple marks here. There was a thing that came out here so the frame would stand, and it does not exist. It somehow got broken off. There's a couple marks you may or may not be able to see. There's a couple marks where it used to be attached, and it is not there. My thinking is I can either find a new insert completely, or I can find a thingy that goes back there and affix it, and then let people know that it is repaired and sell it for a discount, and somebody will get a great deal. I only paid $3.99 for it. If I sell it for 20 or 22, they're going to be getting it at half price of the resale, and I am going to be making a little money. So that was my thinking on that. I don't know if I can figure it out or not, but it was just too pretty to leave. The other thing is you can put it on a stand, like a freestanding stand, so it doesn't really need a back. Like you can buy one of those like easel type stands and lean it on that. So I will think that through a little bit, but for $3.99 I couldn't leave it in the store because the crystal itself is not broken in any way, and it is beautiful. So there was that. And then the other thing I picked up is fun. It's dark right now because I just washed it. This is a statue, and they are Mexican Colima dogs, dancing Colima dogs. Okay, I believe this to be a reproduction. I do not believe this to be thousands of years old. There are a lot of reproductions, and they're being made as representations of Mexican, basically Mexican folk art. And I wrote down some things here. They were funeral offerings to help spiritually guide the deceased through the afterlife, through the underworld. They were very connected to their canine companions, the Colima people, and they are from Western Mexico. And basically they were found, the originals are found in shaft tombs. The reproductions carry on a cultural legacy of the Colima people and are valued as Mexican folk art. So I did not pay a ton. I paid $3.99 for these. And the solds on these, the last one that sold that was similar to this, or maybe even, you know, same artist, was $75.29. Now, most of the solds are less than that. They're in the 28 to 35 range, but there's some higher, and the listeds are all over 100. And so for $3.99, this was a definite pickup. It's not broken anywhere. I do have an Indigenous Peoples show coming up. I need to see if reproductions are allowed in that show. If not, this will go over on eBay. But it's just cool. It's just really cool. So I was surprised this was just sitting there and marked at $3.99. So that was that stop. Then I ran over to the Goodwill in Warwick, Rhode Island, and all I found there was a couple of mason jars, but they're really old. So these are cool. So these are, I'm going to show you the oldest one first. This is a little bit older. There's a ball mason jar. They're made around Michigan. This blue glass, I think, is indicative. Still a little bit dirty. It says Perfect Mason. It says ball. The logo, the way the logo is on the jar, determines the age. And there's a chart online. I didn't have a chance to print it out. I'm at my mom's. Anything I print, I have to send. Well, I didn't bring my printer this time because it was just a quick trip. So I have to email it to her and she has to print it, and it's a thing. Mom is 88 years old. She's amazing, but I just decided I wasn't going to. There were just certain things I was just not going to do. So, ball mason jar, Michigan, 1910 to 1933, I believe, on this one. Now, it has its original zinc lid, which adds value. And then these are fun. Like, apparently there's glass inside the lid. There's a piece of glass. So these are cool. I mean, I got a second one, which is why I keep saying these. So this is the quart jar, I believe, and this is the pint jar. And this one is a little bit newer. It does not have that underline under the ball. So it's a little bit newer version. But anyway, they still have good value. So typically the solds on these are around 12. The solds on these are around 18. However, with the lids, I did see an appraisal site that valued this size around 25 to 40. I don't know that they're actually selling for that much. I paid $2.24 for this. So turn that into 12 to 15 plus. And then I paid $2.99 for this, and we'll call that 18 minimum to 24 to 40 or whatever, right? So I did pick these up. There were also some clear jars sitting there. The value on those was not as high as the value on these, so I left them, but it did look like somebody donated their mason jar collection. So that's kind of cool to find stuff that's over 100 years old. I mean, those are antique, right? Ish. 1910 to 1933, and we're in 2025, so it just depends where in there as to whether they're 100 years old or not. But that was really cool. Then I ran over to the Savers, and I always do really well at Savers. I found an interesting assortment of things. So first off, I picked up this Limoges creamer and sugar. There's marked Limoges, France. Don't know if that's gonna focus, but it says Limoges. It says B and C, or B and Co. Limoges, France, Bernard Limoges, and then this is the Gabrielle pattern. Okay, and it's just a sugar and creamer set. So these sell. I did not find this exact set. It's in excellent condition. Put this down. So the sugar, you can see. I mean, it's just truly in excellent condition. I would say 40 plus for the set on these. I can't find this exact one, so that's either really good or really bad. So hopefully somebody has this set and they're missing their sugar and creamer, and they will be able to find this. But similars, you know, different patterns, but similars in the sugar and creamer set are selling in the 40s for the Limoges sets. Okay, I also picked up a glass orb because I can't leave them. So this is probably Asian made. I'm just not sure. It is a little clunky. It's also a little sticky. It needs to be cleaned. But it's a really beautiful holiday ornament. And I've got a bunch of these now. So I don't know if I'm going to do like a show that's just the glass orbs, or if they'll be in one of my glass shows coming up sometime this fall. But anyway, really big glass orb. I paid $3.19 for it. They typically sell in the 12 to 15 range. I also picked up a pottery colander, and this is so cute. It's got little painted violets in it. This is the bottom. It's not signed. It might have had an underplate with it originally that would have been signed. So I'm not really sure on this, and the value on these are all over the place for the pottery colanders. I paid $3.19. Value on these ranges from 14 to 76. I mean, those are sold pottery colanders. I don't know who the artist is, so I have no idea where this would fall. So I think if I put this on eBay, I would start this on the higher range and take offers. It's just a really pretty one. You know, it's one of those, it's like I look at it and I'm like, oh, should I keep it? I don't know, it's so pretty. So I don't know yet on that, what's going on, but definitely had value and definitely worth picking up. The next thing I picked up, you know, a little outside of my comfort zone here, this is a Japanese Shibata vase. And the Shibata, it's Japanese porcelain. It actually says Shibata Japan on the bottom here. And Shibata vases are hand-painted, intricate, nature-inspired designs, often featuring gold accents. So this has a gold rim. And then I don't know if there's any actual gold in the painting on this one. It doesn't look like there is. And it says a luxurious finish and valued as decor and collectible pieces. So I just thought that was really pretty. I have not looked at it under the loupe to see if it was a transfer, but my guess is it is actually hand painted, as it is a Shibata vase. So really, really pretty butterflies, flowers, just gorgeous decor. So anyway, on that one, I paid $4.39. And this exact one just recently sold for $18. So not a ton, you know, I'll probably profit about $10 on this guy, but to me that's worth it. You know, if you get your volume up, which is what I'm hoping to do this fall, you know, it's always nice to have a little bit of money coming in. So that's, I picked that one up. And then the last thing I picked up was this vase. And this is very, very interesting. I picked it up because it was hand signed. Which way is right side up? This way. It says Gail Pittman, 94. Now, I don't know if you guys know about Gail Pittman. Now, this spot here is actually part of the design. You can see it's just pink dots, and that's a stray pink dot. So Gail Pittman is from, let's see if I can find this here, Mississippi, I think. Of course, the thing I printed, yeah, Mississippi. Okay, so she's from Mississippi. This is Gail Pittman. Okay, she's a very, very interesting person. I believe she may be retired, but don't quote me on that. She started her art in her home kitchen in 1979. What she did was she bought pre-made ceramics, like when you go to paint your own pottery stores and things like that. She bought the pre-made pieces and she painted them and fired them and sold them. Okay, grew a huge following and actually started her own ceramics company. So let's see, I'm going to say she started in her home kitchen in 1979, painting pre-made pottery as a hobby after leaving her teaching job to stay home and take care of her children. The hobby soon evolved into a successful home-based business, generating significant revenue. By the early 2000s, she had a large studio and manufacturing facility in Mississippi, employing numerous people. After operating the manufacturing plant for over 2 decades, she moved her focus to design and licensing, creating new patterns for tableware and home decor. Her business, Gail Pittman Designs, became a household name with her wares sold nationwide. She's been recognized with several accolades, including the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 1993 and induction into the Mississippi Innovators Hall of Fame in 2018. So that's pretty cool, right, to have one of her pieces. So this is, you know, an earlier-ish, I mean, not in the 70s, but it is, you know, certainly not current. So I think that's kind of fun. So this again is Gail, and this already is listed in my signature sale, which is happening on the 20, I keep saying 20, it's a week from today, a week from Sunday the 14th, so the 21st, and I believe it's at 6:30, but check below because I'm not remembering right now for sure. So Gail Pittman Vase, just sitting there on the shelf. I paid $4.39 for it. They sell in the 24 to 28 range on the resale market these days. Okay, and then I'm going to tell you, before I tell you about the last stop, I did go back to Savers on the 9th in the middle of the day, my lunch break, because it's like 10 or 15 minutes from my mom's house. I did not pick anything up at that time. They wheeled out a cart and it had 2 very interesting things on it. They were taxidermy-ish. So one of them was about this size, and it was a tarantula, and it was in perfect condition. It was mounted, it had a glass, and it had a frame. And it was only $7.99, and the resale is in the 80 plus range. And I came so close to taking that home, so close. And then they had another one, which was a little freakier. It was a bat, an actual taxidermy bat for $7.99. Now, bats are not allowed to be sold on eBay. They are likely not allowed to be sold on Niknax. I'm sure they're not. You can't resell like taxidermy mammals. So anyway, definitely not bats. They wanted to cut down on the illegal trade, et cetera, et cetera. So I knew I couldn't take the bat home. Plus it was pretty gross. I don't know, it just had bad juju. I don't know how to explain it. And the tarantula, I held on to it. I walked around the store and I'm like, do I really want a big hairy spider in my house before I sell it? And I decided to leave it for someone else to resell and enjoy. And I did not get any photos or anything because it was just such a, you know, it's like the carts come out, people hover around the carts. It was so chaotic. I think it was senior day, and it was just a really, really chaotic experience. And I just put it back and slowly backed away and went and got Dell's lemonade and went home. Went back to mom's. So anyway, it was an anecdote. It was a thing. I saw them, and when I went back, because I went back after work, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have picked it up. Of course, they were gone because I'm sure somebody scooped them up within moments. Because there's huge value there. So anyway, that evening I picked up a few other things. They had put a bunch of stuff out during the day. Some of them I probably should have left, but let's just go through them really quick. This is false-graph. Now, I do not typically pick up false-graph, but I looked this up, and it's a Bennington jug pottery vase. It still has somebody's tag on it. It says Old Stony Lane. I got to figure out that's probably a shop. It is apparently stoneware. It has markings on the bottom, and it's meant to be like a collectible or a vase or an actual oversized mug. It's not supposed to be a pitcher, which is interesting because it certainly looks like a pitcher to me. Toby mug, Bennington pottery, false-graph, Bennington jug, Toby mug. The solds on this are around $25. I paid $4.89 for it, and I picked it up because the solds were around $25. However, there is a current listing on eBay for $7. So I got to hold off on that and wait until that one disappears before I would list this. But the sold, like I said, the solds are around 25. So we've got that. I picked up this confetti bowl. Now this is mass produced. It was probably from Bed Bath & Beyond. When I tried to find it, there was one that came up that was Anthropologie, which is why I picked it up. But upon further research, I think it's more likely to be the Bed Bath & Beyond confetti bowl rather than the Anthropologie Jewels bowl. So, you know, not worth a ton. Picked it up for a couple bucks. It was $2.09. And the big ones, like they had big ones, like a big salad bowl, and then they had these smaller, a big serving bowl, and then they had the smaller like salad bowls. The big ones sell around $32. So I didn't see any of this size. I'm gonna call it somewhere between $6 and $15 on this. But again, I paid $2 for it. So there's that. I picked up a Relic purse. So Relic is a Fossil brand. I think it's a lesser Fossil brand, but the condition on this was so good. And it's leather, it's Relic. Like you can see, it's got no wear. The inside was fantastic. You know, I still need to clean it and everything, but it's in really good condition. So I picked this guy up. I paid $7.69 for it. Definitely paid up. The solds on the Relics are in the 18 to 42 range. I could not find that exact one. I couldn't find the name of it to be able to research it further, but I definitely think there's some room in there, and we'll see what happens. I have a ton of purses now that I've got to get listed on eBay, and I'm hoping by the end of September all of those will be up, because I probably have at least a dozen. All right, then I found this really fun tiki mug, and this is a seahorse, and the brand on this is called Muntiki. And they did collectible, I don't know if you can see, it says Muntiki Imports. They did collectible tiki mugs. This particular one, the seahorse, it has good value, and apparently there's a glaze, like this one is kind of a greenish tealish color. There's like a reddish brown one, which is really rare, and collectors are looking for that. So if you ever find that, it will sell better than even this. So this guy, I paid $3.14 for him. One recently sold at $35, which is fantastic. And the listeds are anywhere between 20 and 60. So I think that 35 is probably a reasonable number. And again, I paid $3.14 for that. So that was really a good find. The other thing I found, I got two more things. I got this little squat bubble vase. I love the bubble vases. This one was sold by Crate and Barrel. Probably doesn't have a ton of value. I paid $2.44 for it. There's one listed right now at 16, so it's probably a 8 to 12 on this. And this will go into a glass show at some point. All right, and then one last one, which is actually kind of good. I found this little cobalt perfume with this, what seems to be pewter base. It's in great condition. The stopper's fine. It still has a sticker on the bottom, and it says made in Taiwan. It has a sticker over a sticker, but underneath it, it says made in Taiwan. I love this. I paid $3.49 for it, and one sold on Etsy for $30. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I paid total this week of $81.68. I think the value on these things, very conservatively, is around $325. So I think we're looking at a 4X week, which is great. And you know, it's funny. It's like my heart isn't like really excited about most of these things. I mean, they're good, but I didn't have any like out of the park home run type things. But I did go out other times later. Like I just went up to New Hampshire and Vermont, and I did find a couple really cool things. So I'm excited to share those with you. We'll do that in the next video or two. It will be soon, I promise, because you know, new things keep popping up, and I want to share with you all the things. Oh, the other thing, I went to a Goodwill bins. There was a new one that opened here in Rhode Island, and I went to check it out. I will probably have a short video up on that. Hopefully I can take my little clips and put them together once I get home and put that up. It's not as, you know, I didn't really find anything great, and I don't know if I ever need to go back there again. I got there kind of when they opened, and there really just wasn't a lot that was in my personal wheelhouse, and I picked up some things that I thought might have value, but yeah, it's probably not where I'm going to find the things that I really enjoy finding. All right, guys. So upcoming shows, really quick, I've got 921, the signature series that I've told you about. I'm also going to be in the Itty Bitty Train on the 11th of October. The Indigenous Peoples Train, these are all over on Niknax.net. The Indigenous Peoples Train on the 12th of October. And then the Pink and Blue Breast Cancer Awareness. It's on Men's Breast Cancer Awareness Day during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so that's going to be all pink and blue items, and that is on the 18th of October. I don't remember my times for all of these shows, but they will be in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next week with another video. Bye!